Have you ever felt like no matter how strong you are, life just keeps knocking you back down? Like you've had to fight your way through everything since the day you got here. Like you already know how strong you are. So why the hell do you keep having to prove it? In this video, we're going to walk through what that actually does to a person, from childhood to relationships to the moment everything finally starts to shift. Some people don't grow up feeling safe, not in their home, not in their body, not in the world around them. From the very beginning, it feels like they were just dropped here. No steady hands to hold them, no eyes really seeing them, no one paying close enough attention to notice the weight of what they were carrying. Just figure it out. And you can feel that when you're a kid. You see other children being comforted, chosen, loved in ways that seem effortless. And there's this quiet, growing question before you even have the words. Why does it look like that for them, but not for me? And when that question never gets answered, you stop asking it. You stop reaching. You start adapting. You learn to read the moods, the energy, the safety in a room before you even know yourself. You learn to care for your own heart because no one else will. You learn to survive in spaces that were never meant for you to feel safe. And somewhere in all of that, you start building strength, real strength, not the kind people talk about online, the kind that comes from having no choice, the kind that forms when you realize very early on, if I don't figure this out, no one will. And for some, it goes even deeper than that. It's not just that no one showed up, it's that your very presence felt like too much for the people who were supposed to love you. Your sensitivity, your awareness, your energy, something about it overwhelmed them. And instead of meeting you there, they pulled away. Sometimes that looks like emotional distance. Sometimes it looks like being pushed aside. And sometimes it looks like being straight up abandoned, left to figure out life on your own while watching others be loved right in front of you. Not because you weren't worthy of love, but because your light required a level of presence they didn't have. That strength carries you. It pulls you out of things that should have broken you. It lifts you from situations that would have taken most people down. But it doesn't stop there. Because for people like this, life isn't just childhood, it's life after life of tests, trials, moments where you have to prove yourself again and again. You climb out of something heavy, something painful, something that takes everything in you. And just as you start to feel solid, something else hits. Another person, another situation, another moment where you have to dig deep and pull yourself out again. And after a while, it's not about whether you can anymore. You already know you can. The question becomes, why do I keep having to prove it? Why does life keep testing something I've already mastered? That's where the exhaustion comes in. People see the strength, but they don't see the cost. They don't see the night spent alone, holding yourself together when no one else noticed you were falling apart. They just see someone who handles it, someone who always gets through it. And without realizing it, that becomes your role. You become everything for everyone else. You give, you carry, you fix, you show up because you know what it feels like when no one did that for you. And over time, it becomes a pattern. You become so capable, so independent, so used to being the strong one that receiving anything back feels foreign, almost uncomfortable, because you were never taught what it feels like to just be held without having to earn it. And that doesn't just stay in childhood, it shows up in relationships. You find yourself giving more, holding more, understanding more, sometimes with people who take advantage of it People who feel your strength and instead of rising with it, try to dim it because they don't understand it. And for a lot of people, this is where some of the deepest wounds happen because your light doesn't just attract love, it exposes people, and not everyone is willing to face what they see in themselves. So instead of rising, they try to bring you down to a level they can control. Sometimes that looks like manipulation, and sometimes it turns into real harm, emotional, physical, even sexual, because breaking your confidence feels easier than standing in their own truth. There are people who will try to damage you just enough so you don't believe anyone else could ever truly want you. So you stay, so you shrink, so your light feels safer for them to be around. And still, you make it through every time, burned sometimes, scarred sometimes, questioning yourself sometimes, but you make it through. Even after all you've survived, there can still be this quiet voice in the background asking, what's wrong with me? Because when you grow up unseen, unloved, pushed aside, no matter how strong you become, part of you learn to question your own worth. And then, for a lot of people like this, something shifts later in life. And for many, it doesn't happen early. It happens after years, sometimes decades of carrying, surviving, proving, rebuilding. It happens when the body finally slows down enough, or life creates a pause you can't avoid, and everything you've pushed through starts to come up. Often, when they have their own child, for the first time, they feel love in a way that's undeniable, instant, natural, protective, the kind of love where you look at this small life and think, I would never let you feel the way I felt. And that's when it hits, not gently, but all at once. How did no one feel this for me? How did the people who were supposed to protect me not feel this? And that realization cracks something open because now you don't just feel what was missing, you understand it, and it hurts. But this is also where something begins to change because for the first time, you're not just surviving your strength, you're seeing it, you're choosing it. You're no longer using it just to get through. You're starting to use it to build something different. And for anyone who's younger, still in it, still fighting their way through, this part doesn't have to wait decades. The moment you start seeing your strength for what it actually is, not something to prove, not something to question, but something that's already real, that's where the cycle begins to break. Everything you've been through, every time you were knocked down, every time you had to find your way without guidance, support, or love, it built something in you that cannot be taken. Your strength isn't a question. It never was. It's just something that was never reflected back to you. Maybe life tested you more than it should have. Maybe you walked through fires most people will never understand. But you didn't break, even when it looked like you might, even when it felt like too much. You didn't break. People like this, they don't just survive life, they become the ones who see, who understand, who love in a way that's real, because they know what it feels like when it's not there. And eventually, life stops asking you to prove your strength because it's no longer something you're trying to earn. It becomes something you stand in, something you build from, something that finally gets to support you instead of just save you. And even if it took everything to become that, that kind of strength, that kind of depth, that kind of love, it's not something the world gets to take away. Your light, your brilliance, it's yours, and no one can dim it. If this video resonated and you're still feeling caught in the cycle, I want you to know you're not alone. I created a comfort letter to show you the love you deserve. There's also a guided meditation. The link is below. And if you're ready to start taking steps toward healing, if you're ready to step out of the cycle and begin reclaiming yourself, I put together a healing guide that can walk you through that journey at your own pace. Both are linked below so you can choose what feels right for you. Wishing you love and light from my soul to your soul.